Son of a bitch. This always happens. I know. I should have just recorded in my basement, but I was like, "Fuck!" I live with people, and it's middle of the day, and I'm gonna do cardio before I go to bed because I am fucking 12 pounds overweight, dude. Ugh, this fucking holidays, man. Always during the holidays, I'm like, yeah, well, it's a holiday today. I'm gonna pig out. So it's New Year's. This was supposed to be December's book review, but it's hard to do book reviews when you work out as much as I do, and you have like so many hobbies and all that shit. So I was supposed to read Night Manager, but that book is like, even though it's a good book to read during the winter. It takes place in Switzerland, and there was like a snowstorm. But I'm like, dude, when it comes to this time of year, I prefer to read sci-fi or fantasy. So, yeah. So I finally decided to finally read the Book of the New Sun series, which I have both collections. This was a 4-book series from back in I think it was the 70s. I'm not 100% sure when this series came out, but the guy retired. The guy fought in the Korean War and retired in 90 something. So I think this was written in the 70s, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Let's see if I can find it. Does it say? No. Yeah, so I first heard about this series from Sam and Charles. If you know who Sam and Charles are, you know who I'm talking about. If you don't, then none of your business who Sam and Charles is. And they're like, oh man, they always talk about how great this book is. And I tried reading it when I first heard about it years ago, but then the book, it was the thing where I just had the dog, and the book, there's a point in the book where the main character gets a dog, and it's like half dead, and he's sewing it back together. It was tortured. It was implied it was tortured almost to death, so some kids could get recruited for the torturers guild, which our main character is part of. So this book, it turns out it wasn't that bad. Yeah. But yeah, what the book is about is, I gotta move the fucking thing. Yeah, so the book is basically, it's kind of like Dune in a sense where it's kind of a mix of like medieval fantasy, but in like the far off future, where this book, it may or may not take place on Earth, but it's definitely set in our world, but in the far off future, to the point where the sun is dying and people are praying for a new sun to appear. So the book is like think of it like it's like the Dark Ages, but in the far off future, where they do have like advanced technology and there are aliens, but they also have magic, superstition. The main weapons people carry around are swords and shields and bows and arrows and stuff like that. Where guns are very rare in this world. They have guns, but it's only like the nobles in this series who have them. And this could be a spoiler, but it's implied that the nobles in this world are actually a mix of human and alien, are a mix of human alien hybrids. So the series, it starts off in a way that a lot of, young adult, fantasy books start off, even though this book is very dark at times. This is not something you would let your kids read. By the way, it's a 4-book series, but, back then, fantasy books were like average 200 pages long. So you have like the first collection, which is Shadow and Claw, which collects the Shadow of the Torturer, which is the first book, and Claw of the Conciliator. And then you have the second book that has the second half of the series, which is Sword of Lictor and the Citadel of the Autarch, which is what they call the kings in this world. Which he was in the fucking he was in the king's palace in the second book. So that's weird, but whatever. So the book starts off with our main character Severin, who's an apprentice of the Torturers Guild, where he grows up in, and it's very much, it's not as doom and gloom as as you think it's going to be. He basically had kind of like a normal childhood, except for the fact he was orphan. But it was basically like, okay, you grow up in this guild, and he had like basically the kind of life you would see in like other orphans would have at like in other book series like Harry Potter, Memory, Sorrow, Thorn, like the Tales of Earthsea, stuff like that, where it's like they're in the normal childhood, but eventually they get that call to adventure, right, where they want more from life. Where our main character first, meets accidentally saves the life of this rebel leader called Vidaldus, who gets him kind of intrigued into like the life of like a rebel, and then he meets this girl, this noblewoman, who is the sister of the paramour of Vidaldus, who is the main rebel leader, who everybody wants to. The kingdom, the Arctarch's, army wants to kill, right? And he ends up falling in love with the girl, who is the half sister of the paramour, who the Arctarch once kept imprisoned at the Torturers Guild, to use as a hostage. To try to get the half sister to betray Vidaldus, which she doesn't, and they end up having to torture the girl to death, but only for like our main character to decide to fuck up and accidentally causes the girl to commit suicide, which gets them kicked out of the Torturers Guild, but in exile. But he's still doing a torturer's job, where he's going around killing, not torturing people, but like going around committing. Basically, he's working as an executioner for like different townships and cities and stuff. That's where he meets like other colorful characters, runs into trouble. Encounters fucking horrifying monsters, witches. That's more of the second book. Plots like where he becomes like a rebel agent for Vidaldus, even though he's kind of unwilling to do so. And then there's also a thing where there's implications that there are fucking old gods or evil gods that want to destroy humanity, rise up and destroy humanity using agents, right? Fucking just like in fucking was it? Well, Warhammer 40K obviously, but Michael Moorcock's fucking fantasy sci-fi books. Yeah, so I thought the premise was pretty cool, though the first book was kind of like, okay, this is very lackluster, because the book ends it doesn't even end at a duel, where our main character, like, if you're an incel, dude, and you get triggered when main characters get like easily, like, pussy just falls in their lap, dude. That happens constantly at this series, dude, where the main character almost has a harem at the end of the book, but like his girlfriends tend to die after a while. Holy fuck, dude, that was fucking crazy. But yeah, it kind of ends like kind of like a duel. But the book, there's a lot more action, but it's also it's fucking so random, because like he was traveling with this troop, right? This theater troupe, only for like in the second book it starts off with him and this guy who has like a metal arm, prosthetic arm, which I'm not even gonna spoil what the twist with that fucking character is, but And that's where like you meet that character and you find out, oh yeah, there's aliens and whatnot, which they already established in the first book that they have spaceships and humanity used to travel to different planets, but it kind of like kind of lost that technology. And there's also different shit where it's like, oh, they have like teleportation and pocket reality dimensions where they have like this fucking, basically what is a zoo, basically that's open for the public, but each fucking exhibit is like you travel to either what is like a different period of Earth's history, or to it was applied to be maybe a different planet. Who the fuck knows, dude? It was fucking crazy, dude. And it's just open to the public. Oh my fuck, that shit was crazy. There's also cannibalism and incest in the book, which I did not see coming. But it's like, holy fuck, it reminded me of Game of Thrones. The incest. Holy, but other parts, that's the thing where the book is so weird because like sometimes it comes off random as fuck, and then other times, oh, there's kind of like they're reusing ideas from the first book. And then like just like in the first book where like it's so weird because like the second book, that's where a lot, the start of the first half of the book is where all the action is, and then the later half there's like hardly no action, by the way. So it's like fucking weird. That was fucking weird. It's weird. It's also kind of on. Another complaint I have of the book is like the character is basically like, you know, their job is to learn how to torture people and to you know, also learn the protocols of like, you know, torturing, the rituals and whatnot, also how to keep people alive so they don't die right away, all that shit, right? But like, you know, as he goes on his travels, you find like you realize, oh, he's not only is he basically kind of like a doctor, which you already knew that, but he's like, turns out he's also a badass swordsman. It's like, why? I'm supposed to believe they taught the torturers how to be like expert sword fighters. Like, what the fuck? Like, they are part of the authority, right? The government or whatever. So they have like, but as far as we know, like if their citadel ever gets attacked, they have like a fucking gun. They have a room with guns that they can use. Which guns are like overpowered in this world because most people have like, you know, peasant weapons and shit. Yeah. Though like though some of the people have like even the day-to-day soldiers, the most they have is like a lance that shoots like fireballs or whatever. So they don't even have like the common soldiers, which I think that wasn't even considered a common soldier. That was like considered an elite soldier, had like, you know, maybe kind of a projectile weapon. But yeah, so it's like, huh. So I kind of don't see like how, you know, he became like a fucking badass swordsman, but whatever. Oh my god. And then there's also the thing where it's like the book also is written as like a memoirs, so it's like it jumps around at points, and he like kind of like, you know, he kind of spoils shit that's about to happen. And there's also the fact where like, oh, we know the fact that, you know, it's written as the way it is that he's going to survive, but whatever the fuck, that's like kind of like a non-point. But yeah. And another problem I had with this book is the descriptions of sequence of events and shit that's happening as you read it was so fucking confusing. Like I was like lost like on what the fuck had like happened. Which that rarely fucking happens, dude. Where like I'll read something, I'm like, what exactly happened? That rarely fucking happens. I think the only time I remember that fucking happening when I was reading like a Cormac McCarthy book, and that's because, you know, the way he writes, he uses a lot of metaphors. Where this guy also writes a lot of metaphors, but even when he wasn't using metaphors, like shit was confusing. Like there's like when he tried to save Valdea's life, right? At some point he's like, oh, like he didn't kill him. He just helped. He just helped the guy. He just helped the guy, and the other guy, Valdeas, killed the guy who was trying to kill him. Or in other times he'll talk about it and it's like, oh no, he actually killed him. So, or does he mean like, oh, by helping the dude, he killed the guy? I don't fucking know. That's other shit like that. That kind of shit annoyed the fuck out of me. But other than that, like, I enjoyed the book. It's a very good book. It's only 400 pages. It's like 409 pages. But it's a great book. My only other problem with the book is that it's 400 pages is not that expensive, right? I'm sorry, it's not a very lengthy book, but it's almost like $30. Like, I bought this book over a decade ago, back when books weren't that expensive, and it was $26. And it's still at that price, and you still see it in bookstores, but it's like, it's a little pricey considered, like, you know, what you're getting. Because it's like, again, yeah, you're getting 2 books in one, but it's like, you know, it's, each book is like 200 something, is like 200 pages. Like, the whole book is 409 pages. So it's like, yeah, for a book that, see, if you're a regular book reader, you can finish this in less than a week. Because the average, I don't know if the average book reader reads like 200 pages a day or some fucking shit, but like, yeah, like the most I can do is 100 pages a day, and that's if I like read for 5 hours straight, which I don't fucking do that shit no more. Oh fuck, dude, I have too many hobbies, dude. So it's like, even like if you're a slow book reader, right? Unless you're like somebody who like reads maybe like 20 pages a day or whatever the fuck. Like, I know some people who do that. You can finish this in a week, dude. For that price, it's kind of like, not really worth it, but it was good. It just wasn't the thing where it's like, oh, I thought this would be better than it was, but it's one of those books where if I were to give it an out of 10 rating, or if I were to give it like a fucking 5 out of 5 stars, it's definitely one of those books where it's like, it's definitely 4 stars, but if I were to say like out of 10, it's one of those words like, not exactly 8 out of 10, but almost like somewhere between a 7 and a 7.5, which I know it's like, well, like, then how come you give it 4 stars? Well, 4 stars to me means better than average, right? Or, which I know how averages work, but I've seen shit books that are just okay get like, you know, 3 stars, and this is better than most of those kind of books. So that's why I would say it's better than average, you know what I mean? Because even that shitty fucking Dungeons and Dragons book I reviewed last year, or was it 2 years ago, the fucking prequel to the Honor Among Thieves movie, that I would say is like a 3-star book, and that book kind of sucked. Yeah, so my next book review is going to be this, because might as well finish the series. How much pages is this one? 411. So yeah. So I don't know when I'm going to start reading that, because I probably want to read another. I probably want to finish a game I'm playing, which I haven't. I'm playing like 3 games at once. And then, like, you know, I'll start reading a book again, and we'll review graphic novels in the meantime. But yeah. Yeah, I'm probably gonna choose my books at random, but if we get like decent views and ratings or whatever the fuck, please like the videos, please, and comment. If I'm gonna get low views on these videos, can you guys please at least like and comment the videos? So it's like, there's a reason to do this shit. Yeah. Oh well, guys, that's it for this video, guys. Peace out.